title for this one. I was trying to find a direction. I'm like, man, what direction do I go with this? I don't know. So I came up with do not rob my attention. All right. Do not rob my attention. And robbery, if you guys didn't know, is somebody taking something from you with force. It's not just taking something from you, it's taking something from you with force. As in, we're pushing you or we're threatening you to get what it is you have. And that is something the enemy tries to do every single day. He doesn't try to take away your attention. He tries to rob your attention. He tries to do it by force. Give me your attention. Because your attention carries a lot of weight when you think about it. Think about when you actually pay attention, what happens? You gain knowledge. You know what's going on. You are aware. And I'm like, man, if I only paid attention in high school, I would have done so much better. But the enemy is robbing my attention, man. I was so distracted. So distracted with just stuff that just doesn't matter. It's funny how I was talking about last time, how our desires constantly change. And my desires have changed since high school. And it's just like, why didn't I think like this at that time? Where would I be right now if I had this mindset in that time? But your kids, so your frontal lobe is not fully developed yet, you know? But the kids who were, I'm just like, I don't know how, but good for you. You know, you're the, I want straight A's, whatever, good for you. I might work for you someday. I don't know. But God bless you. But that's something, especially when we're trying to give our attention to what the Lord is trying to do in our lives, the enemy is over there trying to distract you and take your attention away from that. Because when you're actually paying attention, you're aware. The enemy doesn't want you to be aware of what he's doing. So if I can take your attention away from that, now you're not really aware of what's going on, right? Whenever I'm in a parking lot, whenever I'm always paying attention to my surroundings. I need to know what's going on. That's why I'm aware. I don't run with headphones or none of that because I like to know what's happening. I like to be aware. So if the enemy tries to take that attention, oh, I know what this is. This is a distraction. You're trying to distract my attention from the task that the Lord has put in front of me. And you have to be aware of when a distraction is trying to do that. But distractions are just so easy to give into, right? Because we're people, especially nowadays, where our minds are just so busy, with the phones, the computers, and all that. Life is just busy. Work is just busy. Everything's just... And so what that does to our mind is now our mind is always running. Always running with thoughts and different things, and we're just always thinking. And we don't take time just to say, hold on. That's why it's so difficult. When you want to make time for the Lord, that's when everything just happens. Somebody needs to call you, somebody needs to talk to you, something just always happens, you know? Especially new people, when they're trying to get into the Lord, that's when everything happens. Everything happens on congregation day. Whatever day you congregate, something just, oh man, you know, my family this, or oh, you know, work, or oh this or that, and just whatever you can come up with. There's always going to be a distraction to take you away from the Word of God, even when you're in your own house. You never clean, but for some reason, when you want to make time for the Lord, oh, this is dirty, I gotta get to that. Oh, you just start doing things that just don't matter. You're just like, oh, I had a random Google question that I forgot to Google. Oh, let me Google that real quick. And then next thing you know, there goes 30 an hour, and you're like, oh, this time was meant for the Lord, and I didn't even do that. Why is that so difficult, though? Because our minds are so used to the entertainment factor that that's what it does. I want to be entertained. I want to be pleased. I want to just do something fun, something that's mindless, you know? And when it takes time for me to get with God, I actually need to focus on something now. I actually need to put my attention somewhere now that's not necessarily something entertaining, right? Because there's times where, you know, it's not necessarily entertaining, but it's something you have to pay attention to, that you have to get lost in to fully get the quality of that time with the Lord. That's why the Bible says it. Go find a room, lock yourself in that room, and spend time with the Lord without any distractions, without anything trying to pull your attention away from that time. Because it's that time that's going to prepare you for when you get out of that room for what awaits you. Whether it's family, whether it's work, whatever it is that special quality time that will prepare you for what is out there in the world. Our focus is the center of interest or activity. And a distraction is that thing that prevents someone from giving their full attention to something else. And usually it's something important. And also go back to when you want to fix your finances, that's when just everything breaks. Something happens, man, I'm really trying to get out of debt, I'm really focused on this, and then, oh, something just happens. Oh man, or not even that. You're just more tempted than usual. You're like, wow, I have this, especially when you're just on the brink, I have all this available money now. And then you just start doing dumb decisions again. And then you're just like, I got myself out of this, but it wasn't to go back to it. And that's what happens. People get themselves out of it and they're like, they think, well, now I know I can get myself out of it, so I'm going to do it again because I know I could get out of it. But that doesn't mean necessarily that's a guarantee that you're going to have the same success as last time when you keep playing with fire. Shoot, I was that person where it's like, oh, well, I can still do this and then worship. I mean, it's not really affecting me. I could do that, I could still party, whatever, and still, and focus on God at the same time. But what it was hindering me fully getting in to what God had planned for me. You can do it, but you're only going to get so far. You're only going to hit a certain level. You're never going to get past it until you actually say, God, here's my life, and here's what I want to, here's my mind, here's my soul, here's my heart, here's my everything. And then you see how he just keeps on taking you and taking you and taking you to the places where you didn't think you would be. Because you see the super religious people and you're like, oh, that ain't going to be me. And then next thing you know, oh, that is me. Oh, okay. When people would speak tongues when I was younger, I'm like, what's that? That will not be me. They're crazy. Dancing the Spirit, what is that? They're nuts. They're crazy. Until it happens to you. You're like, whoa, this is real. Now I'm that person. But we like to go back to certain things because we know just because I got out of this one time, I can get out of it again. And sometimes we hang out with the same exact people that we shouldn't be hanging out with because last time I was with them, yeah, I might have got shot, but hey, I didn't die, so I'm not hanging out with them. True story.
Yes.
You guys laugh,
That's true.
but all these kids, and I say kids, hang out with the same group of people. Again, at the same spot where they were shot last time. And they think I'm invincible. That's what we think. We think we're invincible, we're unbreakable, I can't be broken, I survived, I got it. No, that means I'm not going back to that. I got out by the grace of God, and I'm not going back to where I came from. I'm not going back to that hole. Because nobody knows what it took on my end to get out of it. There was God's part, and then there was my part. Because it goes hand in hand. It's not just, I just sit here and God just, okay, no, it takes something out of me too.
Yes.
Because the Lord is like, yeah, I want you to walk, but you got to stand up. So what he told the one where he healed, he was paralyzed, he said, all right, stand up and walk. You got to stand. Once you stand up, okay, God, now I can do something. Now I can bless your legs. You have to do something for God to bless. There's something you need to offer so God can bless it, right? Especially when it comes to the finance area. Okay, you want me to bless your finances, but you need to give them to me. Mm-hmm. You need to offer your finances so I can bless it. You need to offer your heart so I can bless it. You need to offer me your love so I can bless it. Offer me the relationship so I can bless it. I can't bless something that is not offered. So, as we begin to work towards these goals, as we begin to work toward those things that God puts in our heart, the distractions are always going to creep up and steer you away from it. And it's all designed to take your attention away from what is important. And the enemy is very good at this. But it's also designed to strengthen your self-control. Because now, I don't know, we're never going to know if I could actually withstand a distraction if I'm not tested. All right? So when the distraction comes, okay, I know this is a distraction, I can withstand this. But your self-control does not get better without any resistance. Something always gets better with resistance. Always. When you work out, you're breaking all those muscle fibers or whatever, you're causing resistance to your body. Because it's going to get better, it's going to get stronger. And it's the same way when it works with that self-control and those self-impulses of, man, I know God wants me to do this, but this is really tempting me. You're always going to be tempted. God is always, I'm trying to make you stronger. I'm trying to make you stronger because you're just, the temptation doesn't get weaker, it gets stronger. So if you're going to withstand the temptation down the road, I need you to get stronger now. And it starts with the little ones. It starts with the little things. If you can handle these little things, then you're going to be prepared for the bigger ones. But I can't just, God's like, I'm not going to put you into the bigger ones without preparing you for the little ones. And so with that, even when you're trying to get better at a certain skill, you're trying to learn something new, that's a resistance. Because that's something you don't know how to do. That's something you're learning. But the next thing you know, I'm getting better. Then you always ask though, how's it going to make me better? How does this make me better? Kind of like Allen Iverson with the practice. Just practice? You're talking to me about practice? And that attitude, what? Got him out of the league, right? So much talent, but it was what? The attitude that messed it up. It was that attitude. That ain't gonna make me better. I'm already good. What do I need that for? Practice. It's what makes you better. That's why even as even your jobs in law enforcement, whatever, you train to get better. And you always think, how's it gonna make me better? Well, you'll know when it comes up, well, good thing I trained. Because it puts something in my mind of, oh, I've seen this before, I've been here before. Now I have a reaction. But it's something you've never ever even pictured in your mind. When it comes, you will freeze. You are not going to know what to do. That's why you always got to somehow have this plan in your mind of, well, if this happens, I already have a picture of what I'm going to do with that. And especially when it comes to our word, oh good, when this happens, I have a word for that. God's word already said something against this. So when it comes, I already know I have a word in this. I've read this before, and I've heard this before. And I'm not going to freeze when it comes, just be like, I don't know what to do. And there's a lot of people walking around not knowing what to do because they don't know what's in this word. But it also means they're unaware. Because their attention isn't on this, so they're not even aware that resistance is coming to them. They're not even aware that the enemy is totally messing with their lives. They're not aware because they're not paying attention. And that's how the enemy wants it. I want your attention because I don't want you to focus on him, because then you're going to be aware of my existence. And I don't want you to do that either. I want to be a secret. I want to be like, I'm just hanging out, He's not a like flamboyant, look at me kind of guy. He's not. He's a secretive guy. He's in the shadows. He's in the corners. He's not, hey, I'm the devil. Like, he don't put himself out there like that. It's very secretive. He moves very, just very like a snake, very manipulative. That's what he does. And next thing you know, even sometimes you start thinking like, man, this man is trying to lie to me right now. This man is putting thoughts in my mind that aren't even true, because we do that. We'll put thoughts in our head when that's not even what's happening. We make this whole scenario in our head of what is happening when that's not really what's happening. In your head, you're like, man, this is what these people think about me, and then nobody thinks of you that way. You're putting that in your mind. You're putting that in your head. No one ever said that about you, but we do that. We think, man, we put these scenarios like, oh yeah, well, we're probably doing that because of this. And then she said that, oh, I know what's going on here. No, you do not. You don't know what's going on here. But that's what happens. He put those things in your head so you can start going to your own conclusions and your own assumptions without ever going to God and saying, you know what, Lord, I'm just going to wait till you reveal it, and that's that. I'm going to wait to reveal it. I'm not going to even pay attention to that. I'm not going to entertain that, because that's exactly what he wants. Here, come entertain this. I just put something in your head. Come entertain it. I want you to mess with this for a little bit, to take your attention away, to take your peace away. But we have to be aware when that happens, when those thoughts, no, this is the enemy just putting thoughts in me. I should not be feeling this way.
That's good.
Because we do that because then we're like, oh, well, I can do that better than him. I can do that better than her. Why is she doing it? Why are you doing it? That's pride. And what has the Lord said about pride? I don't want it. I don't like it. I remember I heard a pastor say once, he's like, I don't even say I'm proud of you. I don't like that word. He says, I am pleased with you. Because the Lord said it. I don't like that. And I was like, that's what I started using now. I'm like, I'm very pleased with you. Because there is so much pride in this man, and that's something God is really working even with, of just totally diminishing that. Diminishing that pride little by little, and just saying, you know what, Lord, I'm seeking your approval.
That's right.
And when my time comes, my time comes. I'm not trying to go ahead of anybody. I'm not trying to get behind of anybody. But when my time comes, my time will come, God. And I already know this. But those are the things we think about. Well, I'm better than him. I'm better than her. What's happening here? Why did she get that spot and I didn't? Why did he get that spot and I didn't? Why is he friends with her? Why is he friends with him? What's the deal here? You know? We laugh because it's been here before. Those thoughts have been here before. Let's go to Luke. Luke 10, 38 through 42. Are we there? Say amen.
Amen.
All right. So Martha, we're in Luke 10, 38 through 41. And it reads, while they were traveling, he entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary who also sat at the Lord's feet and was listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks, and she came up and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to serve alone? So tell her to give me a hand. The Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has made the right choice, and it will not be taken away from her. So Martha welcomes Jesus into her home. All right, Jesus walking along. Martha's like, hey, come in here. I want you to come be in my house and eat. I'll prepare something for you. Well, I just want you here. All right, we're welcoming Jesus into our home. And Mary, the sister, sat at the feet of Jesus to listen to what he was saying. So we want to invite Jesus in our home. All right. One sister said, well, I'm going to go listen to what Jesus is saying. All right. This is good stuff. This doesn't happen every day. Jesus is in my house. I need to take advantage of this because I don't know when he's going to come back. This is the Messiah, man. He was just performing miracles and stuff. Like, I need to listen to what this man is saying. All right. So what does Martha do? Martha had so many tasks to do in the home that she was distracted. The fact that Jesus was right in front of her, she was distracted by everything else. And this is physically. Jesus is physically in her home, and she's distracted by everything else she has to do in her house. She was paying attention to everything else in the house and not paying attention to the one she invited. So we're in her home. I invite Jesus in my home. Hey, Jesus, I just want you to sit there, though, while I work and do other stuff. I just want to know that you're there. And I feel like this is what Martha's like, oh yeah, well, I gotta prepare the food and I gotta prepare the drink, and I just gotta do so much instead of just enjoying the presence of God. Instead of just going there and doing what Mary was doing and sitting at his feet and saying, I'm gonna soak in what is happening here. And I don't think she did it on purpose, because the thing is just, especially the mothers in here and then the ones and the wives, there's just so much to do. There's a lot to do, and you get distracted by all the everyday tasks that you have to do that you forget Jesus is in my living room. You forget Jesus is in my life and he's trying to say something, but I'm so busy doing something else. And you have to think to yourself, is this really necessary right now? Do I really need to do this right now? Well, it's going to bother me if I don't do it right now. Well, the Lord is trying to speak to you right now. So which one's more important? My wife says it to me all the time. You have to do that right now. Right now. You feel this is the appropriate time to do this. I'm just like, yeah, just saying, It can wait. It can wait. But the same things happen to us when Jesus is in our home, and we invited him in our home, we invited him in our hearts, we invited him in our minds, but we get distracted by our everyday life. And we forget to actually take the time to just sit at his feet and listen to what he is saying. So Martha, she's walking around and she can hear Jesus talking, but she's not listening. She can hear him talking, she's doing her things, yeah, I hear him talking, and then she goes in there and says, oh, no, she did not. I'm over here working and doing everything, and she's just sitting there doing nothing, enjoying Jesus, while I'm over here working and trying to serve. We get so, especially in the church, and those who work in ministries and stuff, we get so caught up in service that we just forget to just sit at Jesus' feet. Martha wasn't doing anything necessarily wrong. She was trying to prepare something for Jesus here. She's trying to prepare something. She's trying to do something for him. And Jesus sits there. What does he say? He tells her, Martha, Martha, you're worried and upset about many things. Mary's doing the right thing. I know you're trying to serve me and all that, but that's not what I'm looking for right now. That's not really what I need right now. I just need you to take what it is I'm giving you right now. But we get so caught up in the service and we got so caught up in the work of ministry that we forget just to sit at Jesus' feet and just soak in what it is he's telling us and soak in his presence and just to get lost in it.
Amen.
This is not supposed to be, and I know it's work and all that, but this shouldn't feel like a job.
That's right.
It should not feel like a burden. And the point when it gets like that, you have to go and say, I need to go to the feet of Jesus. Because you're going to feel this way. It's going to happen. You have to say, I'm going to the feet of Jesus because this is not feeling right. That is where I'm going. I'm going to the feet of Jesus, where I don't have to serve in that place. All I have to do is just receive and soak in what's happening. When I get in the presence of God, it's nice because you don't have to worry about working. You don't have to worry about doing really anything except for I'm here and just taking in what he's giving out. That's why it's such a great place to be. His presence is such a great place to be because nothing else matters in that time. Nothing else matters in that time. Your kids don't matter. Your husband doesn't matter. Your wife doesn't matter. Work doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. And I hated it because there's times, man, when I work in the afternoon and I'm like, man, I just got out of the presence of God and I got to go to work. I got to go deal with FU, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, oh my gosh, okay. I'm going to prepare myself. There was a place that I would heart, man, I want to leave this. I want to leave this place, but you have to. But that time is what's going to prepare you for that. So Martha wasn't necessarily doing anything wrong. She was just so caught up in the service that she forgot to just go to the feet of Jesus. She was not paying attention to what was important right now. And sometimes it's not even the enemy that does this, it's we do it to ourselves.
That's right. That's good.
This is something Martha was doing to herself. Oh my God, I got so much to do. They have soccer practice, they have this, they have that, especially when you got kids, life just gets busier, so just wait. Okay? Life just gets so much busier and all that, and you just forget, man, but God is sitting in Jesus is in my living room. And I'm ignoring him doing all these other tasks when this is not what's important right now. You have to ask yourself, what is important right now? Because when you look past what's important right now, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss what's in front of you. And I have to remind myself that too, because when we shoot and we practice whatever, we got to shoot these plates. And sometimes I got to remind myself, just focus on the front side. If you look past that thing while you're shooting, you will miss every single time. So the first time I went up there, I failed. Okay, let me go the second time. Once I fix that, I'm hitting now. That's what happens when you try to look past. When you try to look past what's in front of you, you are going to miss it every single time. And that takes discipline, that takes self-control.
Amen.
It's hard for us to focus. Everyone's like, oh, ADHD. Everybody has some kind of form of ADHD. Everybody. Everybody has that. Some worse than others, but everybody has that. It's hard for me to focus on something. It really is. It's hard to focus on something because we're always distracted by other stuff. Because our minds are just racing. And this society we live in does not help at all in that aspect. Because everyone's trying to get your attention. The movies are trying to get your attention. The music's trying to get your attention. Every money is trying to get your attention. There's so many things trying to grab your attention. And it's entertaining, so it's like, yeah, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. And we just start getting pulled all over the place. Instead of, you know what, Jesus is in my living room. He is in my living room, and I've been distracted by all these other things that I have yet to make time for him, and he's sitting right there. So Martha walks in and sees Mary, and she's like, oh no, she didn't. She left me to work by myself. And we've all been there before. We're like, look at her. She's just sitting there doing nothing. She doesn't even do anything. He doesn't even do anything. Like, why does he even work here? Why does she even work here? Like, what are they doing? Just taking up space. How would they even hire this person? You know, I say that because it's stuff I hear at work. And that has me thinking, like, you know, yes, there are lazy people, and there are people who are just like, why? But anyway, you ask yourself, there are times where, you know what? They're actually doing the right thing. I'm in the wrong here. They're paying attention to what's actually important right now. But in our minds, we think, oh, they're not doing anything. They're not helping me. Look, Jesus, she's not helping me. That's what she told Jesus. Jesus, can you tell her to get up and help me? That's the attitude she gave with Jesus. Can you tell her to get up and help me? I'm doing everything by myself. We have that same attitude sometimes. Jesus, I'm doing everything by myself. Can somebody help me? Can you get this person to help me, Lord? They're just sitting there soaking up the service, and I'm over here working. I'm running around trying to do everything, and they're just sitting there soaking it all up. And Jesus is like, yeah, stop that and come here. What does he tell her? He says, you are worried and upset about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has made the right choice, and it will not be taken away from her. And out of all those things that Martha was doing, there's only one thing that was necessary, and it was Jesus in that moment. Mary was doing the right thing, and he said, it will not be taken away from her. Martha, you will not take away the time that Mary is spending with me right now. Look at your neighbor. Look at the person sitting next to you. You will not take this away from me. You are not going to distract me. You can stop repeating now. You're good. You will not distract me from the feet of Jesus. You will not distract me and take away the blessing that I'm receiving right now. And that takes discipline too, to tell somebody, you're not going to take this away from me. You are not. And it's, you know, and I like how Jesus spoke to her. He said, Mary's doing the right thing, and you're not going to take this away from her. If you want to be busy and distracted with whatever it is you're doing, you go do that. But she's doing the right thing right now. She's doing what's important right now. And you're not going to take this away from her. Because the world is going to want to try to take this away from you. The world is going to try and take away these times that you have with God. They're trying to grab your attention and take that away from you. And you have to say, world, you will not take this away from me. Devil, you will not take this away from me. You can try to put everything in the way, but you're not going to take this away from me. You're not going to get in the way of that. And Mary, this is what else he told her. Do you care? Don't you care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Jesus, don't you care? Isn't this messed up what she's doing right now? Like, she's supposed to be helping me. But Jesus, always being the one who somehow goes against what the common thing was in this time, says, no, she's actually doing the right thing. Mother's taken back, like, what? Because let me tell you, in this time, this is what the women did. They cooked, had babies, and that was pretty much it. That was their job. So to Martha, this is like, man, this is my job. This is what I have to do. I have to take care of the guests. They're male, and I need to take care of them. And Jesus going against that common culture is like, no, she's doing the right thing. You need to be doing what she's doing right now. Forget about that right now. Forget about serving. Forget about trying to impress me, and just stop. Just sit down and take in what I'm trying to give you. Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews 12, 1 through 2. And God actually gave us instructions on staying focused. Staying focused on Him and looking at Him as much as we can. Hebrews 12, 1 through 2 says, I'm going to pass 2 probably, but therefore, since we also have such a large cloud of witnesses surrounding us, you are not alone. You have a large crowd of witnesses, people who believe in the same thing you do, that are surrounding you. Okay? Let us lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that lies before us, keeping our eyes on Jesus, the source and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that lay before him endured a cross and despised the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of God's throne. You have to lay aside every weight and every sin that easily ensnares us. I have to lay it aside. I have to give it to the feet of Jesus. Now keep it with me, throw it out, lay it to the side. We have to keep our eyes on him. And he endured a cross and despised the shame and has sat down at the right hand of God's throne. So him knowing, and it says here, the source and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that lay before him endured a cross. So that means the Lord knew, okay, I got to get through this cross, but I know joy is going to come after this. So I'm going to stay focused on this task that the Lord's given me on this cross because I know what's coming after it. And there's times where when we're doing something, we know what's going to happen after it, but it just seems so far away, and it seems so difficult what's happening right now that we forget that joy is on the other side of this. I did not enjoy college. I hated it all. Okay? I wasn't a school kind of person, but you know what? This is something I have to get through because I know it's going to mean something after. Joy will come after this. And if you've ever actually desired and wanted something so bad, you're willing to go through it because you know the reward that's at the end of it. This is why we pursue him, because we know what's going to happen after. The word said you're going to have everlasting life. You're going to have a crown. You're going to have a reward for this. So in that case, yes, I'm willing to endure whatever this world puts me through for your cause, Jesus, Lord, because I know what is coming after it. But people forget what comes after it, and when they're in that moment, they quit because it got way too difficult. But the Lord was focused on the joy. Right now, I'm going to focus on this, okay? And once I'm done with this, I know joy is going to come after. But for me to see that joy, I need to get through this first. What's important right now? Unfortunately, it's dying and going on this cross. That's what's important right now. He wasn't distracted. He didn't let somebody take him and say, no, you have to do it right now. Just wait. It's like, no, I don't go by your time. I go by God's time. Right? And you can imagine, as this man is sweating blood and stuff right before he's about to get crucified, you think that'd be enough to take a person and say, nah, never mind, I ain't doing this. Forget it. Lord, let's go to plan B. I ain't doing this. But no, he didn't get distracted by that because he knew this is something that needs to be done. for the joy that's going to come afterwards.